Hello friends, we are back again with civics and with Indian Constitution. And yesterday we said about certain privileges that the Indian Constitution provides for the people so that they will be safe from discrimination, partiality, by overpowering from the majority or tyranny from the officers and so on. So all these are we are able to get it because the Constitution provides a thing called rules called fundamental rights, fundamental rights. So we have here in this text, you can see here the rights are given there. 6 fundamental rights are given there, and that is able to help us to live our life normally in our country, enjoying full freedom, equality and so on. So let us see what are the fundamental rights. First one is right to equality. So according to this law, all persons are equal before the law. This means that all persons shall be equally protected by the laws of the country. It also states that no citizen can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, caste or sex. So every person, whether they belong to this religion or that religion, this caste or that caste, they will experience the same protection, same rights in this country. Nobody can discriminate because one belongs to minority community or majority community or one caste or other caste and so on. Everybody is expected to experience equal rights in this country. So every person has access to all public places, including playgrounds, hotels, shops, etc. Everywhere, whatever is available in our country, they all have got equal rights. They have got equal access to all that. And the state cannot discriminate against anyone in matters of employment, but there are exceptions to this that you will read about later in this book. The practice of untouchability has also been abolished. So if you practice untouchability, then that is a sign of inequality. So government has abolished all that. Then the second fundamental right is the right to freedom, and this includes the right to freedom of speech and expression, the right to form associations, the right to move freely and reside in any part of the country, and the right to practice any profession, occupation or business. So this right gives the permission to all the citizens of India to express their ideas. And the right to form association, they can form association societies, and they have got the freedom to move around anywhere in the country freely, and they are to also reside in any part of the country. They can stay anywhere in the country. And the right to practice any profession, they can practice any profession, any job, and they can do any occupation or business or anything. Then the third fundamental right is the right to against exploitation. Nobody has got the right to exploit others, to cheat others and so on. So the Indian Constitution prohibits human trafficking, forced labor and children working under 14 years of age and so on. So according to the rule of this country, every person in this country, he has got the right to live freely, and nobody can traffic, nobody can steal the human beings and sell it to others. That is called human trafficking. Not allowed to buy and sell the human beings. or we are not allowed to anyone to do the forced labor without giving money, without paying money, making them to work forcefully. That is against. Then we are not allowed to employ children who are below 14 years of age to do the work. That is all against this exploitation. So anyone who is facing this kind of injustice, they can approach the court and the person can be punished. Then the fourth fundamental right is right to freedom of religion. So Constitution prohibits, the Constitution provides the freedom to practice any religion. There is no forcibly making others to accept any religion, but they have got the freedom to choose whatever religion they want. There is no force, but they can freely choose what religion they like. Then the fifth fundamental right is cultural and educational rights. The Constitution states that all minorities, religious groups or linguistic group, linguistic means language group, small group that is speaking a language, then they can set up their own educational institutions in order to preserve and develop their own culture. So government gives permission to minority groups, group that is small in number, whether it is a language group or religious group, they have got this full freedom to start their own institutions, especially educational institutions, so that they can develop their own culture. Then the sixth one is right to constitutional remedies. So this allows citizens to move the court if they believe that any of their fundamental rights have been violated by the state. So if the above 5 fundamental rights have been violated, then that person can move to the court, file case against, so that he can get justice from the court and restore the fundamental rights that have been violated. So that is the fundamental rights that is provided in the Constitution of our country. Now let us see what are they going to do, how are they going to help us. You can see here number 4, fundamental rights. And this section on fundamental rights has been referred to as a conscience of the Indian Constitution. You can underline that. The fundamental rights are referred to as conscience of the Indian Constitution. If the question comes, what is known as the conscience of the Constitution, then it is the fundamental rights. So colonial rule had created a certain suspicion of the state in the minds of the nationalists, and they wanted to ensure that a set of written rights would guard against the misuse of state power in independent India. Fundamental rights therefore protect citizens against arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. So the fundamental rights is protecting citizens against even the government. The government cannot just show their arbitrary power to the citizens. They have to respect the citizens and provide all that is required for them. Then moreover, the Constitution thus guarantees the right of individuals against as well as against other individuals. So because of the Constitution that we have, we are able to get protection from the government as well as the individuals. So even the government cannot just take away the rights. Then moreover, the various minority communities also express the need for the Constitution to include the rights that would protect their group. The Constitution also guarantees the rights of the minorities against the majority. So the Constitution makes sure that we are not allowed to take away the rights of other communities, whether they belong to a minority community or not. We are expected to have equal rights in this country. Then Dr. Ambedkar has said that these fundamental rights and their objects is twofold. So Ambedkar says that the fundamental rights they have twofold objects. The first objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim these rights, and secondly, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. You can underline what are the twofold objects of our constitution. First one is every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights. So we have given 6 fundamental rights, and we should be able to claim that rights. Nobody can force us, nobody can threaten us. We should have that full freedom to go and claim our rights. And second one is that these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got power to make laws. So it is the duty of the government, the authority, to make sure that everyone follows these laws, that everyone exercises the power that is given to them. That is the responsibility of the authority, the government, to make sure. Then in addition to fundamental rights, the Constitution also has a section called Directive Principles of State Policy. So apart from writing down the fundamental rights, the Constitution also there is another group of law called Directive Principles of State Policy, and this section was designed by the members of the Constituent Assembly to ensure greater social and economic reform, and to serve as a guide to the independent Indian state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses. So in order to make everyone equal, not only before the law but also in economic situation, economic condition, government has included in this Constitution has brought this directive principle as well, so that everyone will have free from poverty and they will be able to live a normal life. So that is the great K that the Constitution Committee has created or made at the time of making this Constitution. They have seen all around protection and development of the people, that India people will continue to live in peace and harmony. Now we have the next point called secularism. Another important feature that is mentioned in our Constitution is secularism. So a secular state is one in which a state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. We will read more about this in the following chapter. So what does secularism means? It means state does not officially promote any one religion. So earlier we said people have got the right to practice their own religion. So government cannot say we will have only one religion or we will have only two religions. No, government cannot say that. So people can follow any religion that they want, and the state cannot force. That is the meaning secularism. So we are free to follow any religion in our country. Then you now understand the ways in which a country's history often determines the kind of constitution that the country adopts for itself. The Constitution plays a crucial role in living out the ideals that we would like all citizens of the country to adhere to, including the representatives that we elect to rule us. And just like in the game of football, the change of constitutive rules will affect the game. Indian Constitution has been changed over the years to reflect new concerns of policy. So the Constitution that was made by Dr. Ambedkar and his team. From time to time, there have been changes, amendments have been made in order to include the new issues and in order to solve the new problems that are faced by the people and so on. So it is always remaining up to date so that the people can experience freedom in their life. They can continue to enjoy safety, protection, equality, and so on. Then often a major change in the constitution means a change in the fundamental nature of the country. And we saw this that in the case of Nepal and how it needs to adopt a new constitution after it recently became a democratic society. So in the beginning we studied about Nepal. The people felt that they need a different type of government. They need a different type of living in their country, and so they protested against the monarchy, the rule by the king, and then they achieved it at the end and became a democratic country. So they had to change all their old constitution and they had to write down a new constitution that will give them all the rights that they want, all the facilities that they want in order to live in their country. Then the different features of the Indian Constitution outlined above involve complicated ideas that are often not easy to grasp. Don't worry too much about this for the moment. The rest of the book, as well as in your higher classes, you will read more about these different features of the Indian Constitution and understand more substantively what they mean. So at present, even if you don't understand, don't worry, but remember that these are the rights that are provided in the Constitution in order to live our life freely and continue to experience that freedom in our country. So in the coming chapters as well as in the higher classes, we'll be studying in the same thing. So we will continue to study about the Indian Constitution. So that is the end of this chapter, and since there is still time, we shall also move ahead to the second chapter, which is also talking about the understanding of secularism. Just now we said India is secular. That means there is no one single religion in our country, or the government cannot force that we should have only one single religion. We should have more religion as the people want. There is no force that we must have more religion or less religion. Those who don't want to have any religion, they are also free. So India gives full freedom to its citizens to believe in any religion that they like. So that is a speciality, one of the speciality that is given to us by the Constitution. So let us see how we must understand the Indian secularism. So just imagine yourself as a Hindu or Muslim living in a part of the United States of America where Christian fundamentalism is very powerful. Suppose that despite being a US citizen, no one is willing to rent their house to you. How this make you feel? Would it not make you feel resentful? What if you decided to complain against this discrimination and were told to go back to India? Would this not make you feel angry? Your anger could take two forms. First, you might react by saying that Christians should get the same treatment in places where Hindus and Muslims are in majority. This is a form of retaliation. Or you might take the view that there should be justice for all. You might fight, stating that no one should be discriminated against on grounds of their religious practices and benefits. This statement rests on the assumption that all forms of domination related to religion should end. This is the essence of secularism, and in this chapter you will read more about what this means in the Indian context. So in short, we are saying that If you go to America, America is a Christian dominated country, and a Hindu person or a Muslim person goes to America and they say you are a Hindu or you are a Muslim, so we will not give you place to stay, we will not allow you to stay here, and you are discriminated. You know how bad you will feel, and you will say when you come to India we will show you. So we may feel like retaliating. So India is a country, secular country, and any religion is allowed to be practiced, and no one should be discriminated on the basis of religion. That is what we will be studying in this chapter. And you can see here the history provides us with many examples of discrimination, exclusion, and persecution on the grounds of religion. And you may have read about how Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany and how several millions were killed. Now, however, the Jewish state of Israel treats its own Muslims and Christian minorities quite badly. In Saudi Arabia, non-Muslims are not allowed to build a temple, church, etc., and nor can they gather in public places for prayer. So, if you look at the world history, there are so many places or countries where people had been persecuted on the basis of religion. And the German arbitrator Hitler, he himself was a very great persecutor, and he persecuted so many Jewish people, saying that they are belonging to lower race, and he killed millions of Jewish people. And now the Jewish people got freedom, they have got their own country, Israel. But though they had faced that persecution on the basis of religion, now they themselves are doing the same thing. They are persecuting people who are living in their country, people especially belonging to Muslim religion, Islam or Christianity, and so they are facing the same problem there. So another country called Saudi Arabia, that is also a Muslim dominated country, and they have no freedom to non-Muslim people, Hindus or Christians. They have no right to build a temple in their country or a church in their country. So they have to, only Muslims are given permission to have proper religious activities. So in all the above examples, members of one religious community either persecute or discriminate against members of other religious communities. And these acts of discrimination take place more easily when one religion is given official recognition by the state at the expense of other religions. Clearly, no one would wish to be discriminated against because of their religion, nor dominated by another religion. In India, can the state discriminate against a citizen on the grounds of their religion? So India has seen all these examples taking place in the world, how one country persecutes another group of people coming from another religion, how their rights were denied, and so on. So the Indian leaders were able to foresee all these things, and they were able to make a better situation in India by giving the freedom of religion, by making India into a secular country, so that whoever wants to practice whatever religion, they are free to practice, and nobody will disturb them, nobody will question them. So that way we are really fortunate to have this beautiful clause added to Indian Constitution, that we are a secular country. Now let us go in deep what is the real meaning of secularism, or how it can be practice, and so on. So in the previous chapter you read about how the Indian Constitution contains fundamental rights that protect us against state power as well as against the tyranny of the majority. The Indian Constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practice as they interpret these. So in keeping with this idea of religious freedom for all, India also adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. And secularism refers to the separation of religion and the state. So the constitution clearly says the religion is one and the state or the government is another. So there should not be state and the government, state and the religion mixed together. State should not interfere in religion. A religion should not interfere in government. So both should be separate, and that way there will be complete understanding, complete separation between the state and the government. Let us see, why should religion be separate from the state? Why it should be? Why it is mentioned like that? So as discussed above, the most important aspect of secularism is its separation of religion from the state power. So India is a secular country and it is completely separated. The government is completely separated from the religion, and this is important for a country to function democratically. Almost all countries of the world will have more than one religious group living in them, and within these religious groups there will most likely to be one group that is in majority. And if this majority religious group has access to state power, then it could quite easily use this power and financial resources to discriminate against and persecute persons of other religions. So any country we go in the world, we will realize that there is more than one religion in that country, and all the religions will not have equal power, equal strength. Some may be small group, some may be larger group, and so on. So if the larger group is trying to control the minority group, then there will not be secularism, there will not be equality. So government wants or country wants that everyone should be treated equally. Whether the religion has got more members or less members, there should not be interference, there should not be persecution and so on. Otherwise it will be called tyranny. The powerful group trying to control the small group or powerless group, that is called the tyranny. So government does not want, India does not want this type of tyranny to be taken place. Everyone, whatever religion they belong to, they should have full freedom to practice their religion, and coercion should not be there. Coercion means using force. You cannot force, your religion is small, so come and join us. So that kind of force, coercion means force. Force also should not be allowed. And at times even the killing of religious minorities. Sometimes the majority group kill away the members of the minority group, saying that they are small group, they have no power, they can do nothing, and so on. So all these things are forbidden and banned in our country. And the majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religions. So all that should not be allowed in the country. The majority, they should not block or compel the small group or minority group. And any form of domination based on religion is in violation of the rights that a democratic society guarantees to each and every citizen, irrespective of their religion. Therefore, the tyranny of the majority and the violation of fundamental rights that can result in one reason why it is important to separate the state and religion in democratic societies. So our Constitution Committee has foreseen all those things, and they did not want all these complications, tyranny, coercion and killings, all these to take place. So they have given complete freedom to the people of India, that whatever religion they want, they can practice and they can live in freedom. That is the purpose. Then we can say they have really done well by making India, declaring India into a secular state. Then another reason that is important to separate religion from the state in democratic society is because we also need to protect the freedom of individuals to exit from their religion, embrace another religion, or have the freedom to interpret religious teachings differently. So sometimes people belonging to one religion, they may not be happy with that religious rules, so if they want, they can go and join another religion. That freedom also is given there, and they are also given freedom to explain and interpret their religious teachings differently. Doesn't mean that all that he says I have to believe. I have got freedom to express or interpret the religious teachings in which I believe. So Constitution gives freedom to that also. Then to understand this point better, let us take a practice of untouchability. We know in India different castes are there, high caste, low caste, and so on. And the people who belong to low caste, they were not allowed to go nearby. If the high caste people touch low caste people, then the high caste people become impure and they have to go and wash and so on. Such kind of feelings were there. It's called untouchability. The low caste people should not touch the high caste people. That kind of situation was there in our country. Then do you think that you would have an easy task to try and change this? Even if you were part of the dominant religious group, you might face a lot of resistance from fellow members of your community. And these members who have control of state power might say that there is only one interpretation of Hinduism and that you do not have freedom to interpret this differently. So if people say you belong to this religion and this religion has got only one way of interpreting the things and nobody else is allowed to interpret, then that person has no religious freedom. You cannot say he is following the secular principles. So here we can say people belonging to a different religion, they are holding hands together, embracing each other and so on. That is called real secularism. Whatever religion they belong to, they should be able to live freely, should be able to live together, and there should not be any thought of that I am higher than the others, or I am better than the others, or my religion is better than the others. Such kind of feeling should not be there. Everyone should be respected for their feelings, for their ideas and so on. Then the Indian Constitution mandates that Indian state be secular. According to the Constitution, only a secular state can realize its objectives to ensure the following. So India is declared as a secular state, and these things are expected from every person living in this country. That one religious community does not dominate another. So one religious community cannot say you are not okay, you are under us. So there is no domination. Everyone should be treated equally. Then some members do not dominate other members of the same religious community. So even in the same religion, there may be different groups of people. Some may be rich and influential, some may be poor and farmers and so on. So they cannot control the poor members of their own religious community as well. They all should be given equal right in their religion, equal chance to express, equal privilege and so on. Then the state does not enforce any particular religion nor take away the religious freedom of the individuals. And the government does not tell the people you must practice this religion, or they should not say we will not allow you to practice religious faith and so on. So government has nothing to do with the faith of the people. They should not force them, they should not take it away, should not deprive them of practicing their religion and so on. Government is supposed to provide a protection for all the groups so that they will be free to practice this religion. Then the Indian state works in various ways to prevent the above domination. So let us see how the government is trying to work out to protect the citizens from tyranny, from force, from discrimination, and so on. So first, it uses a strategy of distancing itself from religion. So government says religious leaders are there, let them make the rule. We are not worried about religion. Government is distancing itself from religion, not willing to interfere in the religion. Then the Indian state is not ruled by a religious group, nor does it support any one religion. In India, the government's spaces like courts, police station, government schools and offices are not supposed to display or promote any one religion. So since the government does not follow any single religion, the offices of the government, the court, the police station, the schools and so on. So all these places should not display supporting one religion or keeping symbols of one religion and so on. So they are supposed to promote everyone and not just support just one alone. That's how it is against the rule of the government, against the secularism. So here we can see a government school and the students want to celebrate a religious festival. So they are asking permission from sir. Sir, there is a big religious festival next month. We have never celebrated it in the school. Can we do it this year? So students are asking teacher, can we celebrate a big religious festival that is coming up? Then the teacher says, I am afraid that it is not possible, Rekha. This is a government school. We cannot give importance to any one religion. Private schools may do that. Government schools don't celebrate any religious festivals in the school premises. Most religious festivals are public holidays so that we can celebrate these at home. So most of the religious festivals government is giving public holiday, so people don't have to go to school or don't have to go to offices that day, so they can remain at home and do the celebration. And I never thought of it this way. I guess we can always celebrate outside the school. So children understood that government school is not supposed to have any religious activities, and so whatever activity they are supposed to have privately or in the private institutions and not in the government school or any government institutions. So that story is revealing the celebration of the religious festival within the school would have been a violation of the government's policy of treating all religions equally. So if government school is allowing the celebration of a festival of a particular religion, then we cannot say we are secular, we are supporting only one religion. So government institutions are not supposed to support just one religion alone. It is supposed to support no one in matters of religion, and they are supposed to do it outside the government school. Then the second way in which Indian secularism works to prevent the above domination is through a strategy of non-interference. So another policy that government follows is government does not interfere. Non-interference means not interfering into these policies of the religious matters. This means that in order to respect the sentiments of all religions and not interfere with the religious practices, the state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities. So government is not interfering into religious matters or religious discussion makings, and government is giving freedom from that. So see a storyboard again. A group of friends who have recently bought scooters are meeting to go for a ride together. So hey, hope you have a helmet. So according to the rule, those who are driving two-wheelers, they are supposed to keep helmet. So friend is asking, do you have a helmet? But a sick person is wearing a turban, therefore he is not able to keep the helmet. So he says, don't worry, I will not be fined. Then his friend is asking for explanation, and he says, for Sikhs wearing pugri, that is the turban, is a very important part of the religion, and the government cannot force me to wear a helmet. So government has exempted because of his religious obligations. He is not able to wear the helmet and he will not be punished. So government gives freedom to him. So in this above storyboard, Paramjit, a Sikh youth, does not have to wear a helmet. This is because the Indian state recognizes that wearing a pugri or turban is central to a Sikh's religious practice, and in order not to interfere with this, allows an exception in the law. So government gives him freedom to practice his religion and does not force him to wear a helmet, because it is difficult to wear a helmet on top of the turban. So government is giving him freedom to do that. So today, and the third way in which Indian secularism works to prevent the domination listed earlier is through strategy of intervention. So government follows another method to practice the secularism is intervention. If the government sees somebody is misusing the power, somebody is dominating, somebody is showing the practicing the untouchability and other things, then government will intervene in that religious matters. That way government will provide equality and protection to the people who are suffering. So you shall wind up today for today. This is all that we have, and we'll meet you again in the next day. So until then, keep studying and do well, and keep reading your lessons and do well. Do not just keep it aside, but read your textbook nicely, and if you have any doubts, you are most welcome to ask me again. So until then, bye. Thank you.